Good afternoon, everyone. So, now let us talk about the topic fertilization. As we have studied that by the process of pollination, pollen grain will reach the stigma. Right? Now, just understand what will happen. This is stigma, then style, and then ovary. That is the female reproductive part of the plant, or I can use the term pistil. Pistil is the female reproductive part of the plant. This is stigma, style, and ovary. Inside the ovary, we know that ovules are present, and then there is female gamete inside the ovule. Right? Now, let us talk about, suppose here I have drawn one ovule. So inside the ovary, ovule is present, or there could be many ovules. I have drawn one ovule, and inside the ovule there is present a female gamete. This we have done. Right? Now, just understand the meaning of fertilization. By the process of pollination, pollen grain reaches here. So this is the pollen grain. Now this pollen grain is having the male gamete. Now what will happen? Just see. The pollen grain will produces a pollen tube. Am I clear? Just see here. Pollen grain will produces a pollen tube. This is a pollen tube. This pollen tube will enter the female gamete. Write this. This pollen tube, male gametes are moving in this pollen tube. So basically, male gamete will go and fuses with the female gamete. This process is known as fertilization. Fusion of male and female gamete. This is known as fertilization. Clear? Suppose here is a male gamete, here is a female gamete. They will fuse, and it results in the formation of a structure which is known as zygote. This process is fertilization. The process of fertilization of male gamete and female gamete is known as fertilization, and it results in the formation of zygote. Now zygote develops into an embryo. The zygote will divide and it results in the formation of an embryo. Clear? Now, let us talk about fruit and seed formation. So now our topic is fruit and seed formation. You all have eaten the fruits, right? Have you ever thought which part of the plant are you eating in the form of fruit? Actually, the fruit that you used to eat. Suppose here I have drawn a fruit. Any fruit, the example of any fruit you can take. This is a fruit, suppose. Okay. You eat this part of the fruit, and inside the fruit you used to get seeds. This is the part of the fruit that we eat, that is edible part of the fruit. And inside that we are having seeds, right? So actually the edible part of the fruit that you used to eat, it is nothing but the ovary. Fruit is the ripened ovary. Clear? We have studied the female part. This is stigma, style, ovary. This is stigma. This is style, and this part is ovary. So basically what happens after the process of fertilization, after the fusion of male and female gamete, after the formation of zygote, all other parts wither off. All other petal will wither off, sepal will wither off, anther will wither off, stigma will wither off, style will wither off. only ovary will be left, only. And this ovary will form the fruit. Clear? So what is fruit? Fruit is nothing but the ripened ovary. Inside the fruit, we get these seeds. These seeds are nothing but the ovule. Compare here, in the ovary we are having ovule, and inside the ovule I told you female gamete was there, but after fertilization I told you the female gamete will fuse with the male gamete. It results in the formation of zygote. Zygote develops into embryo. So here earlier it was female gamete, but after fertilization it will be embryo. Right? So the ovary develop into fruit. Ovule develop into seeds. And inside the seeds, embryo is present. Am I clear? So the fruit that you eat is nothing but the ovary. Inside the fruit we get seeds. The seeds, they are formed from the ovule. And inside the seeds, embryo is present. That's why whenever you will plant the seed in the soil and you'll give water, you can see a new plant will start growing, because the seed is having embryo. Am I clear? Now, let us talk about the next topic, that is dispersion of seeds. First of all, let me ask, you have seen the same kind of plant growing in different habitat. Have you thought how is this possible? Actually, this is possible by the process of dispersion of seeds. Dispersion means scattering. So the process of scattering of the seeds is known as dispersion. Now here comes the question, why is dispersion essential? Clear? Now just think, if all the seeds will grow at the same place, then what problem will arise? They will start competing. They will start fighting for space, nutrients, water, and as a result, they will not be able to grow into a healthy plant. So there is a need to disperse the seeds, right? Plus, the dispersion allows the plants to invade wider and new habitat, a new place to grow. Clear? Now let us talk about the different ways by which dispersion takes place in case of plants. So basically, a plant needs different kind of agents for the process of dispersion. A plant can disperse the seeds with the help of wind, or with the help of water, or with the help of animals, or by a process which is known as explosion. Clear? Now let us talk about the characteristics of the seeds that are dispersed by wind. Just think, the seeds that are dispersed by the wind, they should be light in weight. If they will be light, they can be easily carried away by the wind. Its example is grasses. The seeds of grasses are quite light in weight, so that they can be easily dispersed by wind. Okay, so the second characteristic feature is they are hairy. Clear? They are having wing-like structure. With the help of that, they can easily fly in the sky. Clear? Its example is maple. In the seeds of maple, wing-like structure is present. Clear? Now, let us talk about the characteristics of the seeds that are dispersed by water. Let me give you its example. Coconut. You all have seen a coconut. On the coconut, you can see there are fibers. There are thread-like structure. Right? So basically, the seeds that are dispersed by water, they should have the floating ability. Obviously, they have to float on the water. So they should have the floating ability. And for that, they are having a spongy covering, or they are having a fibrous covering, like you have seen is in case of a coconut. Right? Now, Let us talk about the characteristic features of the seeds that are dispersed by animals. The seeds that are dispersed by the animals, obviously they must be sticky so that they can stick, they can cling on the surface of the body of the animals. So these kind of seeds that are dispersed by the animals, they are having hooks, they are having spines so that they can cling, they can attach on the surface of the animals, on the body of the animals. Clear? Its example is xanthium, urana. Now the last one, dispersion by explosion. Explosion, a kind of blast. So basically what happens in this, the fruits, you are aware that seeds are present inside the fruit. So what happens in the dispersion by explosion, the fruits will burst open, the fruits will burst. Now what will happen when the fruits will burst, the seeds will come out and they will be scattered to far off places because the fruits are bursting with a high pressure. So the seeds will come out with a high pressure and they will be scattered to far off places. Clear? So this is dispersion by explosion. Its example is balsam. Am I clear? Okay. So now let us start chapter number 13, that is motion and time. First of all, what do you mean by the term motion? You have read about motion, types of motion in class 6. When an object changes its place with respect to time, then that object is said to be in motion. Okay. Motion is of three types. This also you have done in class 6. Motion along a straight line, that is rectilinear motion. Circular motion, if an object moves around a fixed point, making equal distance from that point. Periodic motion, if an object repeats its motion after a fixed interval of time. Right? About these different types of motion we have discussed in class 6. Now, let us talk about what is speed. Before that, let me give you an example. Let me ask you something. Suppose there is a vehicle. Suppose there is a car. Clear? This is car A and this is car B. Now here I have drawn car B. Now they are moving on a same road. They are moving along a straight path. Clear? Now just see. Suppose after 5 minutes, the car A reaches here. After 5 minutes, car A reaches here. And after the same interval of time, after 5 minutes, car B reaches here. Now tell me, car A reaches here and car B reaches here. Which of them is moving faster? Your answer will be car A. Car A is moving faster. Why? Because it has covered more distance in the same interval of time. Time interval is same. I have taken 5 minutes for both. But car A has covered more distance in given interval of time. So car A is having more speed. Right? Now let me give you another example. So basically more distance in the given interval of time, it means more speed. Okay. Now, again, A car is there and B car is there. Now, here is the destination point. Okay, the destination point is at the fixed interval, suppose 100 meter. Both the car are in a race and there is a destination point at 100 meter. So the car A covers 100 meter. The car A reaches here. Okay, car A has covered 100 meter. Now the car A is here. But it requires suppose 6 minutes to reach here. Now, car B also, the distance is same as they are in a race, 100 meters. Now car B reaches here. Or I can say car B has covered 100 meter. But for that the car B took 4 minutes, suppose. Clear? Now tell me one thing. Which of them is moving faster? Distance is same. Both has covered 100 meter. But the time is different. Car A has covered 100 meter in 6 minutes. Car B has covered 100 meter in 4 minutes. Now which of them is moving faster? Your answer will be car B, because it has covered the same distance in less time. So the object that is covering the same distance in less time has the higher speed. Or the first example that I gave you, the object that covers larger distance in a specified given interval of time, it is moving faster. Okay, and the object is moving fast or slow, that is a measure of its speed. Clear? We used to say this object is moving faster. It means this object is having higher speed and this object is having low speed when I'll compare with the car A. Am I clear with the concept what we are going to study? So now let us talk about what is speed. So speed is distance covered by an object per unit time. Clear? Distance covered by an object per unit time. Now, suppose I am having a car and its speed is 50 km per hour. Then it means that the car has covered 50 km in 1 hour. 50 km per hour basically means the car has covered 50 km in 1 hour. Now, is that practically correct all the time? Is the speed of the car every time same? No. At a few places, at certain places, there could be traffic. At that place, the speed of the car might be slow. And at a few places, the speed of the car might be more. So this 50 km per hour is actually the average speed of the car. Average speed means total distance by total time. But here in this chapter in class 7th, we'll not use the word average, we'll just use the word speed. So I am writing speed equal to total distance by total time. But in reality it is average speed. Okay, total distance by total time. Am I clear? So what is speed? Distance covered by an object per unit time. Or I can use the formula speed equal to distance divided by time. Am I clear? Now, we are having two types of the motion on the basis of the speed. One is uniform motion and second one is non-uniform motion. Now, what is the meaning of these two? Uniform motion, when the speed of the object remains constant. Clear? When an object is moving and the speed of the object remains constant, then that motion is known as uniform motion. And what is non-uniform motion? When the speed of an object keeps changing, that is non-uniform motion. Am I clear with the concept of speed? Thank you.